Can you all hear me? Okay, thank you. I'm just looking to see if we have our first couple speakers in the meeting. Let's go ahead and get started and call this meeting to order. And if we have to, we can always skip over items and come back to them. So welcome to another fabulous edition of the Finance and Operations Committee meeting. Uh, First things on the agenda are the information only items. So just checking in to see, are there any comments or questions on any of those from the committee? No, I had none either. So we'll jump into abstracts. The first one is a Connecticut early start grant, and it's listed as Ms. Derwin, but I see Ms. Diaz Valencia.
Yep, you're stuck with me. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Happy Monday. I will take an opportunity just to talk briefly about this abstract because this is different than any one that you may have seen before in the past. Connecticut Early Start is the new early childhood initiative to blend funding streams that once before were separated, meaning school readiness, Head Start, child daycare contracts. In New Haven, right now, we have a state Head Start classroom and we have various school readiness classrooms. The purpose of the Office of Early Childhood at the State Department doing this was so that they could directly contract with providers, help more so focus on the quality of care rather than all of the contracts and the paperwork, and to streamline all the efforts. Which this was beautiful timing because, as you know, in New Haven public schools, we are really trying to build this coherence model with all of our pre-K work. And so just right, like falls in line with exactly the goals that we've set out for ourselves. So this abstract is for the One State Head Start Classroom Award, as well as the school readiness sites, which have classrooms over at Nathan Hale, Hill Central, East Rock, and Fame.
All right, thank you. Are there comments or questions? The only question I have, does this mean we're not going to be doing all the subcontracting? So it'll just be for the things that New Haven schools are doing, not for the 10 or 12 other. Okay.
Yeah, well, I think it was more like 23 other, but
Well,
yes. And I knew that question was coming. And so, yes, good. Everybody right now, any child care provider, preschool within the state has a direct contract with the Office of Early Childhood at the State Department. Now, there are no more fiduciaries or fiscal pass-throughs. You have your own separate provider contract. And so, yes, no longer are we the fiscal pass-through for the city of New Haven.
all right. My second question is, does this mean is the committee, the early childhood committee that the city committee, I'm trying to remember the full name of it, does that still continue or?
So the New Haven Early Childhood Council will still continue in some way, shape, or form. Every city, town is required to have a local governance partner, and the local governance partner work is identified through that kind of entity. And I believe, I'm not sure if it's sealed, signed, and delivered, but that United Way will be the LGP, which will work with the community on more of like the community assessment, professional learning, helping to bring all of the community providers together in a common forum for collaboration, but not for oversight, if that makes sense. That's an area that is still um, is still being ironed out at the state level. I will say that they have contracted with Shine Early Learning. You may have remember that name from a contract that we've had. They're very familiar with Head Start. They are the entity that this Office of Early Childhood has contracted with to help the LGPs. So really to help to build out this local governance partner model.
All right, thank you. Attorney Alexiadis?
Thank you. So, does this mean we are like completely out of the loop now on the other early childhood education school readiness slots that were previously approved by that um, separate entity and then forwarded to us for action on the distribution? Are we
Correct.
completely out of it now?
Correct.
Okay.
We are only our hand is only in the school readiness and Head Start seats that have been provided to us directly as New Haven Public Schools.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Hearing, seeing nothing else on this, we'll move on to 3.2, which is the extended school hours grant. Looks like Mr. Tabaris is here.
Yes, good afternoon. The extended school hours grant is a portion of the Priority Alliance grant that's given as an entitlement to the New Haven Board of Education. So this year, we're just submitting our abstract to support extended school hours programming across the district to support those K through 8 students in the 2025-26 school year.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? President Yarborough?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for writing this abstract. How much of the after school program would this cover if granted?
So 40% of the overall grant is allocated to support community partnerships. So about $135,000 of that is allocated to just support partnerships. And then the remaining amount is supporting the coordinator, which is myself, and the startup of different sites as well. Fairhaven being one of them. And hopefully we can support additional 3 to 4 sites with that money as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hearing nothing else on this,
I think
3.3.
Attorney Alexiadis.
I'm sorry,
Is there
Attorney
any-
Alexiadis, didn't see your hand. My apologies.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Do we know if there's any federal funding component on this grant?
To my understanding, this is a state grant. So I would say no.
Yeah, no, I see that it's a State Department of Education, but sometimes there's pass-through. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
All right, thank you. Hearing nothing else, 3.3 is the 21st Century Community Learning Centers. Mr. Tavares?
Yes. Continuing on, this is the year 5 of 5 for the cohort 19, which supports FAME, Nathan Hale, and Hill Central. And this is just submitting that abstract to support continuing programming at those 3 sites. Sorry. And Attorney Alex Arias, this one is a federal grant. So yeah, I'm not too sure how to proceed with that one.
Right. Comments or questions? Okay. Attorney Alexiadis?
Has the application been submitted yet?
The application was submitted 5 years ago. So this is just a continuation of the
Aha.
grant.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
You're 5 of 5, right? So, any word, is this going to continue after this? Is there a chance to reapply, or is it all up in the air?
I would have to discuss that with Gemma and the executive team to see how this is going to be impacted.
Yeah. And I think anything attached to federal funding is up in the air. Anyways, all right, thank you. Item 4.1 is an MOU with Fairhaven Community Health Center and Cornell Scott Health Center. Ms. Peters?
Hey, good evening. Yes, these are an MOA really of an agreement with 2 of our health partners that run 15 of our school-based health centers. This is something we're trying that's new, where it's a special agreement for 2 weeks, going from August 18th to the 28th, in 4 schools. So Cornell Scott, would operate two schools, Davis and Truman, and Fairhaven would operate would be open their school-based health centers for Ross, Woodward, and Wilbur Cross. And the purpose of this collaboration with the health department, Dr. White and others, is really an effort to try to get as many students in our district compliant with immunizations and physicals before the school year. Because as you know, we're not allowing kids in anymore who are not compliant with their physicals and immunizations in those certain grades. So this is kind of a new endeavor that, we wanted to make this memorandum of agreement for this 2 weeks before school opens. And what's different about it than just opening our school-based health centers is that this allows any student in the entire district, no matter what school they go to, if they are in need of an immunization or physical, they can go to any of those 4 schools. We've never done that before, and it's really our effort to try and get as many students compliant with school entry, physicals, and immunizations so that there's less of a chance of them missing school once school starts. So that's what this is about. It's a no-cost agreement. We're not paying them anything. They will bill for insurance just as they do when they're running their school-based health centers.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Dr. Yarbrough.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Peters, for kind of the innovation and bringing this idea together to try to increase compliance. And I was thinking, and I don't know if it's appropriate for this type of 2-week intervention, food allergies and having documentation around that for students is also a big topic for the district. And I'm wondering if that is also a topic that can be tackled here, or would it be inappropriate for this type of setup?
When you say food allergies, what do you mean, Dr. Arbor? I mean, what are you referring to? You mean just getting those documentation together to say that, okay, if you have food allergies, you need to come, bring it to us, or what is it exactly that you're asking? I'm not sure I understand.
Yes, and maybe Mr. Wilcox can also speak to this. There are some students that carry an EpiPen, may not carry an EpiPen, but require um, modifications of school meals. And we need documentation on file, in addition to just the parents or the students letting the district know. They need official documentation from a physician on file about these allergies.
Okay, so I know what you're talking about. This is a school nurse issue. The school nurse is supposed to really be the contact person to deal with the food service, and then, be that they're the conduit because there's a school nurse in every school. We're not school-based health centers are not in every school, and so this has been. You're absolutely right. This has been an issue for maybe 20 years, as long as I've been around. And Tiffany Jackson was instrumental in coming up with a food allergy policy like 10 years ago with the health department. So it's an ongoing issue that, just like compliance is, where not everybody is doing what they need to do in order to address those problems that kids have with certain conditions. I think to your point, a greater awareness campaign around this and trying to get parents to understand what they need to do in this, because that's the biggest hurdle. Same with Head Start and getting kids like for dental exams. Like, it's a requirement, but you always have a certain percentage of parents that might not understand it or be compliant. And so we're always chasing, those to make sure that kids are safe and getting what they need. So I think it's a well-raised issue, but I'm not sure it's relevant to this, because compliance now, kids are going to be turned away for the really, and we want to make sure absenteeism is a huge issue. And why not get ahead of it now, then chase them until, Christmas. So it's not something that maybe we can do right now, but I think it's a very important issue, very similar to compliance with immunizations and the Head Start with the dental exams, and just like you're saying, food allergies, because these are real and they have to be coordinated with food service and other providers in order to make sure, that we're ahead of the game and not being reactive, being proactive. But for
Thank
this particular thing, I think let's see how it goes. And if it's really successful, we expand next year to have more school-based health centers open, maybe for longer. But we haven't done this before, and I'm very hopeful that, because we can see any child, regardless of what school, that it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes. Thank you for your response. And I do agree with getting ahead of the game is better prospects than trying to chase down a problem later on. So thank you.
Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hearing,
All right.
seeing nothing else on this item, we will jump into 5.1 in the state of Connecticut early Head Start grant agreement. Ms. Diaz Valencia.
Yes, so this is the agreement to follow in line with the abstract that I just presented on. It breaks down the funding for both the 2 years of the school readiness grant, which is at 759, and then also the Head Start state grant for $759,000.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? All right, I had none either. Thank you. 5.2, agreement with Teach for America. Ms. Bonanno.
So this is an agreement with Barnard School and Teach for America for high dose tutoring. It's the Teach for America Ignite partnership. The New Haven Public Schools has participated in this with multiple Title I schools throughout the past couple of years, and Barnard will be a new school added to the list of schools participating in high dose tutoring. TFA is a part of the state's high dose tutoring approved contractors. And so they will be moving forward with this to service students in grades 3 through 5, small group with Ignite tutors.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? I had none either, so thank you. We'll move on to 5.3, an agreement with Rocket Lit Incorporated. Mr. McCain or someone else available on this?
Hi, yes, my name is Heather Toothaker. I am the district science coach. I'm going to be speaking for Robert Kane this evening. Thank you. The program for InterOrbit is to work in tandem with the new science curriculum. This particular agreement is for 3rd grade through 11th grade. It's district-wide assessments that are given online that provide data that has not been available in terms of district-level data, school data, and also teacher evaluation data, so they can do just-in-time evaluation. It is something that is continuing from last year and expanding into the lower grades so that we have a better understanding of the elementary curriculum going forward. It was 6th through 11th grade last year. And we have had great feedback by teachers. It is helping to improve our NGSS scores. And we hope to continue with this program this year.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Dr. Yarbrough. You're muted.
Thank you. I support an assessment tool, and if the committee agrees or the board agrees, I'd like to see an example of what was collected last year and what is the type of information that we get from this.
Absolutely. Is that something you'd want to see today or in the future?
Not today, but soon. I would like to see it. I mean, personally, I want to see it. I would like to see it before the school year begins. I imagine you have other things to do as well, and it's I don't know how big the request is, but I'm very interested in seeing what actually we learn from the information and how it's helping us. Also, given the fact that we're trying to bring in an assessment tool across all the grades that gives us a clearer picture of how our students are doing in science.
Absolutely. We've presented this before to the teacher in learning, and I do believe we have a PowerPoint readily available, and then questions could be answered further. I know Keisha may have something to say about that as well.
Be great. Thank you.
Heather, I think you did an excellent job with the PowerPoint that we can start there. And then Dr. Yarbrough, if you have further questions, we can definitely give you like a few question items if that's what you're referring to, just wanting to see like a few question stems. We can do that, no problem at all. But this
Perfect.
this is really in line with when I became supervisor, the assistant superintendent, Supervisor McCain and I had conversations around data and what's our predictor? What do we use for data analysis prior to administering the NGSS to know how our students are performing? And at the time, we did not have any assessments that we were using as a district. And so as we've introduced these assessments, we're learning more about science education in the district, and we're able to refine our practices and help teachers improve their overall quality of instruction as well. So it's been helpful from that standpoint. It's still fairly new, but yes, I think Heather, we can share the PowerPoint, and then if Dr. Yarbrough has further questions, we definitely can provide answers for them.
Thank you. That sounds great.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing nothing else on this, we'll move on to 5.4, an agreement with ACES. Ms. Jackson.
Yep, that's our program that we have for our kiddos in grades K through 5 who require programming, who have significant complex needs that we've been working with ACES for quite some time. So that program services 30 students.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Dr. Yarbrough.
Thank you. This is just a clarification question. I think I'm looking at the right document that there are multiple funds to which this service will be charged, and one of them has pending receipt of funds. How is that handled if the funds don't come in?
This is through, again, it's a priority, which is connected with our Alliance grant. So that money is coming.
Okay.
It's a part of the money that we do get on a yearly basis. So yes, otherwise you'll see. But yeah, no, it does. We'll be getting that money.
Great. Thank you.
Comes directly from the state.
And my understanding is, am I incorrect in that we already know what money we're going to be receiving from the state for this coming year, or is it?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. My one question related to this was, is the new program at Wexler going to have any impact on this, any of our agreements with ACES, is either this one or moving forward, or is it unknown?
Not this one in particular. It did on the 6-8 contract, but not this one.
Okay. All right, thank you. 5.5 is an agreement with Lifeline Cares. Ms. Jackson.
So this is a little bit different than the nursing contracts that I'm usually here talking about for students who require individual nursing by way of their IEP. This is for students that we have in our district who may have complex medical needs that require nursing services on field trips. So for instance, primarily the students that we're talking about are students who have type 1 diabetes and who, need insulin injections, et cetera, et cetera. Those are students who typically are not students with disabilities that we've been servicing, but those are students that require full-time nursing on field trips. So that's our agreement with Lifeline, enough to make sure that we're providing some support for those kiddos as they need them when they're out on field trips.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? All right, I had none either. So 5.6 is an agreement with Yale Child Study Center. Ms. Jackson.
Yep, this is a contract for us to continue to work with the Yale Child Study Center to continue to refine our practices within our SSST and our SPMT, the structures that we have within the buildings, enough to be able to talk about our students and also looking at our leadership within the building. So this has been a partner that we have had for quite some time, and they've been a long-standing partner with us, doing some good work in addition to really looking at how they're refining the systems and structures in our schools as it relates to the process by which we're talking to students and how we're looking at the governance in the building. They also provide us with professional development.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? I had none either. I was informed before the meeting that 5.7 with Relay Hub is being withdrawn for the time being.
No, it's actually 7.2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, it's 7.2.
No, 7.2 is an HVAC
I'm
system.
sorry, 7.1, Mr. Wilcox is 7.1. I apologize, 7.1.
I see. Okay.
Sorry,
My,
yep, it's 7.1.
okay, 7.1. So 5.7 is agreement with the relay hub.
Yep. To 7.1. So that's we utilize Relay. I've talked about this before. They actually provide some administrative oversight enough to help us to get reimbursement through Medicaid. And some of that is students who both have an IEP and are eligible for Medicaid. We are able to get some reimbursement for those students. So they provide the administrative oversight, and they also help with doing some of the software to log services in order to maximize reimbursement.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes, thank you. With some of the federal changes, do we expect less reimbursement? And I guess my point is maybe we can watch. I believe up until this point, this particular uh, service has covered its own costs
Yeah.
in the way of reimbursements. And I would like for that to continue. But do we have something in place to measure any federal changes that may significantly reduce the amount of reimbursements?
So I would say it's not just the federal reimbursement, and I don't have any information that suggests what that would look like. But also, too, there's been a change in this program about 5 years ago, where if you just shared with the shared that a child had an IEP and they were eligible for Medicaid, you would be able to automatically get the reimbursement. Now we have to get parent consent. So there's another variable that has also impacted our funding outside of what changes may happen with the federal government. So there's also been that impact that has also impacted what we get for reimbursement, that change.
Thank you. Good to know.
We'll keep an eye on that to see if that's something else, another variable on top of this other variable that's been introduced, to see if that impacts as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hearing nothing else on this, we'll move on to 5.8 and 5.9 are related. And it's listed as Mr. Billy, but I believe it's Dr. Billy. But I'm not seeing him here.
No, it's
Okay.
not here, but these are the contracts for our junior ROTC program at Hill House. This pays for the 2 instructors. It is a split between Department of Defense and us paying the salary. And as you know, that program has been excellent and has been a great part of the Hill House curriculum for many, many years. The team, the members of the program participated in a variety of community activities, including putting wreaths out. It's been a stop on wreaths across America numerous times because of their involvement and their work at different events.
Right, thank you. Comments or questions? I'll just note that it appears that this is the same individuals continuing on for another year here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So 5.10 is an agreement with Securely. Mr. Simeone or anybody else can speak on this?
I can speak to it. I was trying to bring Mr. Simeone over. It seems to have a little trouble, but Securely is a program primarily used to monitor the email system, look for alerts, and Simeone's coming in now, but also used to help filter out dangerous content so that students are able to stay on their correct tasks when using devices on the network. And as I said, also it monitors the email system for bullying, suicide, violence, any of those things, and have been very useful in reaching out for us to reach out when we've needed to students when we discover there's an issue.
All right, thank you. Anything else to add? Any comments or questions? I had none either. So thank you very much. Moving to 6.1, which is an amendment to the agreement with Yale University. Ms. Johnson, or is someone else available? This is a no-cost
She's here.
amendment.
Yeah, she's here. I'm sorry. I'm bringing her over.
All right. All right, Ms. Johnson.
Hi, everyone. I'm not sure why I'm a blurry. Hi, everyone. How are you? Happy Monday.
Thank you.
Okay.
You.
So, we are looking to amend our agreement. We have started our inaugural cohort in May 2025. And after kind of looking through and going through this first cohort, we recognize that there is a need to ensure that we have high quality teachers and we have a more suitable course sequence for our fellows. So what we, myself, Christine, Dr. Christine Gentry, who's the Yale director, we work closely together, and we wanted to make sure that we're merging the two original tracks into one track. We looked at strengthening the current new teacher track with the current paraprofessional and support track, because we want to make sure that as we kind of continue with our direction and continuous school improvement, that we're really providing high quality professional learning and opportunities for these new teachers to really hone their craft and stay with us as we continue this process. So they would essentially have a year where 2 years where they're working on their master's degree. Their first year, they would still receive the living stipend, tuition, and then their second year, they would be a teacher of record, still continuing with their master's degree. We felt this change was really, really critical in order to ensure that we are producing teachers who are ready to teach and meet the challenges that we have here in New Haven Public Schools.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes, and I think you've said this. This is an addition of paraprofessionals to that track.
Yeah. So essentially, any paraprofessional or student-facing support staff would apply to the new teacher track, so they would still have the same opportunity. They would also receive a $46,000 living stipend, as well as full tuition for their master's degrees.
Great, thank you. Thank you for working on this.
All right, thank you. Attorney Alexiadis?
Thank you. I don't have anything to say substantive, just to advise the committee that I've worked with Yale's counsel and reviewed these proposed changes. So upon approval, we ought to be able to circulate it for signature very quickly. My view on it is that this is, we already amended it once earlier this year, the underlying agreement, and now it seems to me is based on experience. They're making appropriate changes to the program.
All right, thank you very much. I had no questions, so hearing and seeing none others. 7.1 was being withdrawn for now. And we'll move on to 7.2 with Mr. Pagan, but President Yarbrough, could you just chair for a moment? I need to step away for a minute, and I'll be back in about a minute or two. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's move to the purchase order 7.2. Mr. Pagan.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is an amendment to purchase order with CT Controls Corp. To upgrade the HVAC controls from EBI to Tritium at Worthington Hooker Middle School. This upgrade is necessary because EBI is a proprietary platform software which will not allow the HVAC system to work properly. It's outdated. We want to go to Tritium, which is an open system. And the reason it needs to be done now is before school starts, so we can have everything working properly.
Thank you very much. I have two questions, and one of them you began to answer. So for Tritium, does that make, in terms of the contractors who may be brought on at a later date to service this system, does that make it less sole source? Are there more contractors available?
It's a universal system. It's an open system that anyone could work on. So yes, that's the good thing about switching over to Tritium. It's an open system.
Okay. Is there a plan to switch over the other systems to something that is more open and serviceable?
Yes, we're piecemealing it. 50% of the buildings are EBI, 50% are tritium. Uh, at some point, you are married to EBI and you're trying to wean away from it little by little. It's a very pricey project. So doing it this way is the most cost-effective way of going about it.
Okay, thank you. And,
Mhm.
and my last topic, this is an amendment. Is it the date that has changed, or what has changed with this purchase order, please?
I believe it's a failure of that piece of equipment that had to be added on.
Okay,
So it wasn't part of the original. Yes.
okay, got it. Thank you. Mr. Wilcox?
Thank you very much, sir. Any other comments or questions on this item? Hearing seeing none, we'll move on to 7.3, I believe, which would be purchase order with Encore Fire Protection.
Yes, this is a purchase order for Encore Fire Protection to replace fire smoke and heat detection devices at Wilbur Cross. This takes us, reason being, the devices that are there now are outdated and non-code compliant. That's why these changes have to be made.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Hearing seeing none. I had none either. So we'll move on to 7.4, which is a purchase order under state contract with MEO Bryan and Sons.
Yeah, yes, the state contract with MEO O'Brien and Sons to provide playground resurfacing at King Robinson from July 1st through July 30th in the amount of 105. This is for upgrading the playground at King Robinson.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Ms. Downer? Ms. Downer, you're muted.
I'm actually just going into the agenda. I apologize, but can you tell me if they're getting a playscape for 100 grand?
That
Or
I
is it
can
just
answer. It's just resurfacing, to my understanding.
with the polymer?
Yes.
So what happens to the playscape that's actually, is the playscape in good condition? Or are they resurfacing around the playscape?
I would have to get back to you. I don't have that answer at this moment. I don't want to give you the wrong, I don't want to agree to it and not have all the information. I would like to table that one.
Okay, because I mean, like, what are they doing with the playscape that's on the old surface?
That
Does it
would stay as is.
require,
It's only resurfacing the floor. That's it. Because if you go over there, you see that everything's popping up. So they're just going to resurface all that stuff on the floor.
right? And I guess I need to know the square footage too, because I know
Okay.
that the polymer has to be set. It's just like setting tile. So I'm just wondering, where's the playscape for this amount? I mean, um, we just had one from Martinez, I think. That was, I don't know, was it 100K? I mean, I need to know the square footage of the playscape.
Fair question. I will get that information for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so just so yeah, I would request that comes to the committee sometime in the next day or two. And
Noted.
I mean, my plan is to include this in the motion to move it forward, but if not, we can always pull it back. But just to, if we could have that in the next couple of days, so it could be reviewed. If there's an issue, we could talk to the superintendent before
Not a problem.
posting meeting materials on Friday.
How am I to communicate this information? Do I give it to Selena, or is there someone else you would like me to email this information to?
I
Mr.
think,
Pagan, can you email it to Dr. White, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
and just to make sure we got the right information, Ms. Downer, it was square footage and what is happening with the playground equipment.
And also maybe perhaps they can look at the other budgets of the playscapes. We just had a playscape go through. I'm just sitting down. I'm just, just jumping in, and I wasn't prepared, but to see 105K, I know there's something out there with playscapes. I know playscapes was moved from Martinez School to another area, and the price just seems astronomical just for a surface. And were there any other quotes that was given besides using this one company? It's just the floor. It's like tiling. So if it's a 16 by 16, whatever that playscape sit on, or if it's 16 by 30, whatever it is, I mean, that's a lot of money.
In looking at the cover memo, just to because I understand you're not able to, or you're just being able to see it now. It's listed as 3,600 square feet at a 3-inch thickness throughout.
Does that include demo?
It
Or is
says
that
in the
patch?
description, it's removal of deteriorated playground surface and installation of play-bound poured-in place rubber playground and safety surfacing 3 inches thick throughout, 3,600 square feet.
That is 82,800, and it has the installation services, the removal and disposal at 22,600.
Mm. I don't
Yes.
know. It just seems really pricey. Now, I need it to be tabled because I need to see what the other quotes were. And I'm sorry, I apologize, but this is why we have these meetings. We just don't push it along because somebody wants to push it. I hope not. I'm sorry. I didn't prepare. I apologize for that. I apologize to the public.
Apologize.
But I apologize. But I need to just do a little bit more research on other playscapes.
Okay.
And it's not going to take that long. It literally, I could probably do it today. I just don't want to take up this meeting.
I understood. And I see your hand, Attorney Alexiadis. Before I go to you, one question is Mr. Pagan, do you know when this work is scheduled to occur? Like,
Yeah,
is this trying to get done in order to?
Is yet to be scheduled.
It's yet to be
Pending on
scheduled.
the PO. Pending on the PO.
Right, but is the intention for this to be done prior to the start of school in 6 weeks, or is it going to be happening at some point in the school year?
Some point in the school year. Yes, we have to
Okay, so
schedule
this
it.
is not time sensitive?
No.
Okay.
If it is, then maybe someone from the school system can tell me what those other playscapes were. I mean, we have all our resources here on the call. So, maybe that could be, something that they can open up. We have enough people up here that can do it. But
Okay.
I don't want to put them on the spot either. So don't do it because I made that suggestion, please. I just need more time on this.
Okay. Attorney Alexiadis, you had something to add?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You asked my question about the timing and whether this was time sensitive, and then my comment is to note that this is that the pricing is under state contract.
Okay. So there's seems to be no objection then to just continue this on to our next F&O meeting so that there's time to take a look at this. Am I correct in that? So I'm not hearing any worries from the district side that this is going to be impacting start of school. So, okay. So I support continuing this then to the next one. So when I make the motion, it'll not include 7.4 or 7.1. 7.5, however, is a purchase order under state contract with Air Temp Mechanical Services. Mr. Pagan?
Yes, this is a purchase order to obtain 2 chillers, one for Betsy Ross and the other for John Daniels, which do not have air conditioning due to failed chillers in their buildings. This will get us through August through October, the end of October.
All right, thank you. I see Dr. Yarbrough, your hand's up.
Yes. What does it take to repair these chillers versus doing a rental?
They're not repairable at this point.
What does it take to replace them then? Meaning, do we have the money?
That I do not know if you have the money to replace them, but they're going to be upwards of, one might be worth maybe $1 million. The other might be 500,000. These are projects that have to be coordinated. Areas have to be surveyed. They're between 18 months to 24 months away from being completed. Those are projects that need project management associated with it. The point of the matter is that once, let's say when you do purchase the new chillers, you need to have maintenance involved with it, because you can purchase a chiller and if you don't touch it for 20 years, it's going to fail, or maybe 15 years, versus if you put preventative maintenance into it to extend the life, that where it could go 30, maybe 35 years, and you'll get more efficiency out of it. At this point for the district, we have one steam fitter who's not even an HVAC tech for 45 buildings. It's impossible to have a maintenance program with one personnel going through all these buildings. So we have to rethink how we're going to move forward and service all the equipment, possibly putting a maintenance package together for a mechanical vendor to come in and service our equipment and PM everything, create a PM system for that we can monitor. But that would be the only way to extend the life on all of our equipment throughout the district, because at this point we're being reactive and not proactive.
Thank you. And I think what I hear on this particular, like, with these particular schools, two schools, uh, even if we were going to replace them today, is not something that will be fixed today. It takes many
takes
months, a
planning.
year to
Yes,
coordinate it. And so these rentals are a short-term
temporary.
response to the current temperatures for the summer and the beginning of the school year.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Downer?
Okay, Mr. Pagan, I hear you. You said we need a maintenance program and everything. You also mentioned the steam fitter.
Correct.
What HVAC level is he?
He is not an S1 or an S2, and his position with the city is steam fitter. It's not an HVAC tech, which probably needs to be recategorized.
Okay, so the question that I'm asking you also is, we got a lot of Band-Aids going on our HVAC systems, our chillers, our boilers. We got a lot of Band-Aids going on. And we got the wrong people oversighting it. A steam fitter cannot oversight an S1. So who do you have that can oversight when you have Tucker and these other mechanical people that's coming in? Not Tucker, I'm sorry. I don't want to, I reject that comment for real. The company that you have now, they're going to bring their S1s or their S2s, rightfully so. But we don't have anyone that's an S1 and an S2.
Currently, I'm the one overseeing it, and I'm a licensed refrigeration engineer.
Refrigeration and boiler is something different. You have an S1 or S2?
I have a refrigeration license.
Okay, exactly.
I do not have either. Okay.
That's for the kitchen, sir. I'm talking about the boilers. I'm talking about
it's an HVAC license I have. I have an HVAC license. That's a refrigeration Q1. Q01 refrigeration license.
Do you have an S1 or S2?
I have a New York City refrigeration license from New York.
It is exactly what I'm asking you. I'm asking you a specific question. Do you carry the S1 and S2? That was one of the things that they were lacking in ABM.
No,
I do. Do you carry that? Okay, thank you. Because in the state of Connecticut, to issue anything on the boiler, you have to have the S1 or the S2. The S1 is higher. That's unlimited. So that's our problem right there. When you put the wrong people to the job, that's our problem. That's why we have these issues with our boilers, whether they're old or not. Everybody has an old furnace. Not everybody got a brand new furnace. Not everybody got a brand new air conditioning unit. But you got to be able to work on all of them and know what's going on. That's the problem here.
Are you familiar with the New York State refrigeration license. I have
Sir,
25 years experience with this.
so I understand, sir, I'm not
Okay.
asking for your, I only asked you for that one credential that relates to our air
Do you know
handlers.
it? Fair question. Do you
Okay,
know it?
it's a fair question, very fair
Yes.
question, because in the state of Connecticut, you do know that you have to carry each state license to even cross in. So you
No.
do know that. I
Yes.
carry a CDL Class A. I got to have a certain CDL that crosses these states, interstate. So I know about licensing. So that's our problem. The problem is we don't have the right resource. The person that has the resources that know. We need personnel with the resources too. We understand we have a situation. We've been having a situation. If we got the wrong people there, we're going to keep having a situation. And this is not on you, sir. This is not. This is just why I say we train up our own and get rid of this privatization. But that's another topic here.
It sounds like you're saying that I'm not qualified to do the job. That's how I'm taking it when I'm trying to explain to you that I have 25 years doing this and I'm a licensed refrigeration engineer from New York.
Sir, I'm an electrical engineer and I know very much a little bit about this stuff. And I know about licensing, okay? And I know what the state of Connecticut requires you to have. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't say anything about your credential. I really didn't. And if I did offend you, then maybe there's
No.
somewhere.
I'm just trying to
Okay, so
shed light on it and
maybe,
just to
but
say,
I didn't say, but what I'm trying to say is this is not the subject. The subject is, do we actually have a Band-Aid here? Do we actually have the real resources that are servicing instead of us just paying for Band-Aids? Because it's not fair to the taxpayers of New Haven either that we are continuing to do this. So that's what I'm trying to say. We know we have a problem, and this problem just didn't start today. And it didn't start a month ago when you got here.
I understand. I'm here to help. I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect or anything, but what I'm saying is equipment from New York is the same equipment from Connecticut. I'm familiar with this type of work, and I want you to feel comfortable with me running your operation, explaining to you what's going on through communication, follow up, and making my deadlines. And I just wanted to share that with you. So, not that you feel that I'm not equipped to handle the job, but that I'm a partner with you to make sure that this goes in the right direction.
Well, I'm just telling you right now, the journeyman level, the steam fitter is a journeyman level. And there's no way they have the qualifications to oversight any air handler jobs. They're about the D level. They're not there. So if this one journeyman who he knows by the state of Connecticut, he must work under a S1 or a S2. That's the same situation that I've been saying.
I am not disagreeing with you. I do think we need a.
And it's unfortunate that I checked the CT licensing division, and one of the D2s had an expired license. So I hope and pray it's not him. I hope and pray.
I do think we need to reclassify the position and hire at least an S2 to oversee this work.
So if it's this person, and I'll talk offline with Dr. White and Dr. Negron, he should not be overseeing. And this is the same stuff I've been talking about. And then you get mad when I go to the meetings and be exposing this stuff. He should not be oversighting our air handlers. That's why we have a problem. That's just why we have the problem. We got the wrong person doing the job.
One other thing I have to bring up is due to the fact that there's only one person, he's not servicing the equipment. The S1s and S2 from Tucker are the ones who are servicing the equipment because, you said, he's not qualified to do it. He's more of a person that
qualified to even be on their level. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just like sending a drain cleaner to do a plumbing job, to like establish a whole manifold system. He's not required to do. He's not actually. I don't know what else how to else explain this thing. I really don't. I'm done. We need to talk offline about this. I'm done.
So I am happy to have in an upcoming discussion item where we can talk about what are the required certifications that the school district needs to have in place and how we meet that either with in-house or how we don't meet that with in-house versus contractors. and vendors that we hire to do these things, and to provide some space for a district to provide some of their plans, as well as to also talk about the challenges of trying to do the maintenance and operations work when we cut operations budgets year after year or don't increase them enough to match inflation in order to pay for the other costs in the district, because it's been a shrinking operation in terms of that. And sometimes if we're not able to make the investment in personnel or investment in contractors, we end up having to make cuts and cuts and cuts, and buildings start to fall apart, which I think we're all in agreement that these buildings need a lot more work. And I think from this meeting I've been coming to for years, as well as citywide building and stewardship, the constant refrain is that we do not have the funds in order to do what's needed. New Haven built beautiful buildings, and we've never been able to have the operating budget to maintain them. So I'm happy to have that in the next, we can talk offline, and we'll talk a little bit later about our discussion item calendar. And we can talk about when is a good time to have this conversation, maybe in August, so that we can come to some clarity and some common understanding on this. Attorney Alexiadis, you have something to add?
Yeah, my question was only what happens at the end of October when this temporary chiller contract expires? Is it the plan that after that we won't need air conditioning, it'll go away, then we're gonna have to pay to reinstall it in the spring?
We'd have to
Yeah,
reinstall
at
in the
that
spring.
point, we'll be into the heating season.
Yes, and you would have to reinstall the equipment in the spring again.
But we wouldn't be paying to rent for it during the winter months.
Correct.
All right. And okay, Ms. Downer, your hand's up.
Yes, I just wanted to say some of the stuff that I'm asking about the licensure is in ABM's contract. That's their contract to us. They're supposed to supply people that are, give us people that are licensed. For S1, S2 license is $105,000. Probably that's on the average. And it probably won't go up no more than 150 or whatever it is. But I mean, we are paying so much money for these HVAC systems. You're right, Mr. Pagan. You're right.
Correct.
We should hire our own people. You're 100% correct. We're spending millions for Band-Aids. And our system is not working because we got the wrong people on them. That's all I got to say. I thought that was all I had to say before, but I'm still going to be talking.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Oh, thank you. Because that's the truth. It's not I feel.
Well, and I'll just add that it's, in my opinion, a lot of this is also directed towards the amount of funds we have available to do this, and maybe that's a combination of the two. But I think we always need to be also looking at the funding issues that are really at the heart of this, because with enough funding, we would be able to afford to be able to hire all sorts of people to be able to manage these buildings, as I'm sure they're able to do in Westport, Guilford, and New Canaan, and other places around here that have adequate per pupil funding. But if there's nothing else on this item, Attorney Alexiadis, your hand's up still? Is it?
Oh, no, I just didn't lower it, sorry.
There's nothing else on this, then we'll move on to 8.1, which is contract for EMS system with Cafe Management, I guess. Mr. Young?
This contract is for our computer software in which we claim our reimbursable meals. And so it's a 3-year contract with our current vendor that we currently use.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions on this item? Dr. Yarbrough?
You're muted, Dr. Yarbrough.
Thank you. Just thank you for listing the amount per year so we can see what the budget is over the 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Seeing nothing else on this. 8.2, award a contract with Rutolo. Mr. Pagan?
Rotolo, yes. Sorry, 1 second. This is for the on-call plumbing service contract with Rotolo for $100,000. It's a renewal. It's a necessary service that's been working out fine. I have one update for Andrea. The one thing is that currently one of our managers resigned, which is the HVAC manager, and we're in the process of replacing him with a licensed S1 or S2 vendor. Just to share that information with you.
Thank you for that information, and I request that as that comes into fruition in terms of hiring someone, I would appreciate it if you please notify the committee and I guess the superintendent and Dr. White.
Not just notify, make sure he's licensed, because I sure will.
Yes, yes, we will make sure he's licensed. I'm just the stopgap in between. Okay.
All right, because I'll be checking.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pagano and Ms. Downer. Hearing nothing else on this one, award a contract with Enviromed Services. Mr. Pagano.
This is for Environment Services for asbestos and mold services and remediation for the year for $150,000.
All right, thank you. Comments or questions? Hearing none. That ends the action items. So reminding everyone that 7.1 was withdrawn for more work by the district, and we are holding back on 7.4 for some more information. So this motion will not include 7.1 or 7.4. But I move that we send to the full board these 3 abstracts, 1 MOU, these 10 agreements, 1 amendment, the remaining 3 purchase orders, and these 3 contracts.
Second.
It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. President Yarborough?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. Next item is the discussion calendar update. So I've been working with Ms. DeMayo. We have a draft of the discussion calendar close to being ready to send to people for comment. We'll be doing that over the next couple of days. If anybody has anything they'd like to see on it, I would appreciate it if you would please get that information to the committee and to the superintendent and Ms. DeMayo. Would be a good place to start. And then we will send a draft of this around so that we can have a working discussion calendar so that people know when things are coming up, and then we make sure we're not forgetting anything that's of importance to the committee. So,
Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
I think on this calendar, there's a topic of change orders, and I could be wrong.
We do a change order report every October, yes.
Every October. Okay, so it's coming up soon. The reason I bring it up is particularly now, given our funding situation, I want to know whether there are foreseeable increases or foreseeable change order requests coming forward, because we know that we have projects that are bigger than what we've agreed to so far to spend. And that is an effort to just get the board members' expectations and aligned with what is happening, where we are, and if we need to make additional adjustments or funding requests, etc.
Okay, if I may ask a question, so the change order report will be for the fiscal year that just ended. So it's kind of a retrospective look at all the change orders. But just as a reminder, and it's coming up next on the agenda, the upcoming financial issues. I think we started to do that this January with the idea that if there was something that wasn't quite ready yet with all the paperwork to be an action item, that they could give the committee, and then it would show up in the minutes and the whole board would be aware of upcoming financial issues, whether they're big, like something changing in federal funding that the district is worried about, but also something as small as looks like we're going to have cost overruns in this area, and we're not sure the exact details yet, but this is coming. So do you mean
Yes,
something
that's
different than
sufficient.
that, or? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
But thank you, because it's a good reminder that the intention of the committee for the upcoming financial issues is just that. Anything that's, I mean, obviously, paper clips, we're going to need to buy more paper clips, and we thought maybe that's a little minor compared to cost overruns in certain contracts or worries or challenges, things you want to notify the committee and the board about and the public of some of the challenges. So, Dr. Yarbrough?
And I would say, like, for example, we know we cannot predict snowfall. Maybe some people can predict snowfall. I cannot predict snowfall. Um, we know the expense for that tends to be more than what we budget. Um, I'm not sure what fund that comes out of, just as I'm thinking. But in any case, perhaps we can be proactive. Perhaps the city can step in and do some of the clearing, or some kind of way we can just not incur the expense on our own if we know it's coming up and we know we have budget challenges.
Great. Thank you, sir. Dr. White?
We are actually meeting with the city tomorrow to discuss that specific issue as we get ready to look at what we're doing in terms of contracting for the upcoming snow season. So we are trying to get ahead of this by seeing what pieces can be done together, whether we join in the RFP that the city puts out, and just discussing how these pieces work together. Because obviously part of it also requires making sure that the schools are being done timely if we have a delay versus being closed. So those are all things we're addressing, beginning the conversation tomorrow, so see what direction we need to go in with it.
Thank you.
And just to make sure we're keeping track of the agenda here, we'll consider challenges around snow removal to be an upcoming financial issue, just so that it is something that's falling under an agenda item. Otherwise, we'll need to vote to add it to the agenda, but I mean, it is an upcoming financial issue. So, Ms. Downer?
Dr. White, is it possible also to add and see if we can meet with Parks Department, because they do a lot of seasonal people.
That's part of
We gotta get
the
them
quote
on
unquote
board.
meeting with the city.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just didn't hear it. Thank you.
No.
Whew, thank you. I was about to ask, we should adopt a school or something, ask people to just, but they pay so much taxes, I wouldn't even ask somebody to do that. But that's all right. I'm done. Thanks.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Downer. Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes. Uh, School bus scenario, electrification, reduction in routes. I don't think we've received an update for a while on where we are with the school bus performance and contract. And I don't know if first student was awarded electric buses, and they talked about considering the district. I don't know where any of that is. And I know we're paying. So maybe when appropriate, there can be an update on that topic.
All right, we'll add that to the discussion calendar. And we can, if it's too aggressive in terms of the dates for that, we can adjust the date for it. But thank you for that. That's a good one. Especially because it might also be affected because it was federal funds that were going to cover that, and it's electrification, which seems to be out of favor. So I'm also interested to hear what's going to happen with that. Okay, anything else on discussion calendar updates or any other upcoming financial issues that is you want to notify the committee and the board about? Seeing nothing. We have the draft of policy 3520.13 on data sharing. Is this ready to go, or do we need President Yarborough?
Yes, thank you. So I have about 3 or 4 pages left to read. This is so my understanding is that the document talks about how um, companies that partner with the school district should handle the data. And it presents the different categories of student data, district data, staff data. Um, I don't think this document, from what I've read, tries to limit which data are shared. But I think it just says if you're going to use these data, here's how you have to handle it. Here's how you have to protect it. If there's a breach, this is what you need to do. In particular, what I would like to see our district do. So, I don't want to write a letter to parents to say one of our partners has had a data breach and here's the information that's been shared about you, your family, your student. What I would like for the district to be is, and I don't know whether we are or not, but just more aggressive in limiting what data go out and making vendors justify any requests over de-identified data. I do see one statement in here towards the end of the document where it's under a category protecting staff and school level data. Um, and it says, briefly state how you intend to protect the anonymity of staff and school level data and information. I don't necessarily see a corresponding question for students, but even beyond that, I would just love to see in writing uh, people having to justify why they need um, why they need data beyond the de-identified part. Because I think right now it just says, however you use it, you have to use it in this way. Um, and a couple of caveats there. One, it may actually be written in the document, and I haven't seen it. And two, I understand there's a committee that reviews the request. And so maybe the committee goes through that process itself. I think my request is that it's actually written, that people have to use the minimum amount of data necessary to do the job. And anything above a certain amount, they really have to justify it, and the district has to agree.
Okay. So, Attorney Alexianis?
Thank you. My question is this draft policy, the CABE policy in its entirety, or is there any changes from the CABE model policy?
So it was the CABE model policy, and the changes were where, like an example is on page 15, is where there's CABE provides version 1 or version 2, and you select from them. So redlining out the version that chose not to go with. And then there's also the addition, it looks like, with Appendix B is bringing in the standard data sharing agreement that New Haven Schools has. So those are some of the changes with the CABE model policy. And then it also has as a further appendix is the application materials where people have to go in and talk about their research proposal if it's a research oriented proposal, which I think would be different than a vendor where we're doing data sharing with a vendor for school business purposes or operations or student tracking it like a test taking system or something like that. So I guess my question is, what's our best way to move forward so we can complete this work? And it sounds like we might need to have a subcommittee just take a a look at this and knock this out. I know I've done that for some other things related to F&O policies. Is that something that would work here?
Well, I guess it depends on if people want to sit on an additional committee. Um, I think from my perspective, the question is, um, a response doesn't have to be today, but I think one response is my general proposal of trying to restrict what is provided something the district thinks is worthwhile and doable? And if yes, then how do we put it into a policy or an agreement such that actions follow suit? Um, and it might be the case that there are certain um, checks that have to be met before certain information is agreed to be released and provided, where it has to fall above a certain threshold to be of value to the district to lend that information to our partner companies.
So I think this might be a place where it's useful. I know in other policy issues we have like a preamble that kind of expresses the will of the board, and it, in a lot of ways it sounds like it's the will of the board is that there is the most minimal amount of data sharing happening to meet the needs of the district, and that it has to be de-identified whenever possible, so that it kind of sets like this is our goals, and then the district then has to ensure that they're meeting that. So that might be one way
That would be my preference. Yeah. Thank you.
That also allows some flexibility for the people that do the work to be able to push back on vendors that say, no, we can't do that because the policy says we have to minimize this. So you really have to justify it, because we might have to prove it to the board that that's the case. So I'm going to go to Dr. Negron first and then Mr. Simeon.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox. I just wanted to flag again, and I know that I have Assistant Superintendent Red Hannons also with us. Absolutely, yes, right. We want to limit the amount of data that we are providing any partner. I think it's also important, however we write this policy, to also make sure that we are creating room also to be able to do the work of our academic assessments, right? Often we do partner with vendors such as HMH, right, that does our entire literacy programming, such as people like iReady that supports our mathematics, where often, right, we need that level of expertise to be able to further analyze for us whether kids are making growth or not, for example, whether things are working, because we want to determine return on investments of those particular dashboards, for lack of a better technical term. But again, I just wanted to voice that, right? Because there's some items operational, yes, absolutely, but there's some items related just to academic assessments that we're going to have to be make sure that we go deeper into the conversation so that we're not handcuffing our ability to use the latest that's out there in terms of innovation to support the way that we use data to inform our practices with our students, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our kids are learning.
I support that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Simeon?
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Narone's statement. And I just wanted to say that I've sat in on a couple of these data sharing committee meetings. And from the IT side, the IT security side, we've always questioned the data and how they're going to use it, and whether the data that they're asking for is valid for what the outcomes the requesting party is looking for. So we just don't hand over data that they're requesting. We do question them on the data. And if it's something that is of like PII, any type of personal identification of data, we'll also scrutinize how that's stored on their system, whether it's encrypted, and who has access to their system. So we do scrutinize those partners on if it's any type of personal data.
Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes. I think that if our banking systems and our healthcare systems can experience data breaches, I think we should assume that these school vendors will or have or will again experience a data breach. And I think the question I'm trying to think about is what is the information that we want to report has been shared? And there's a big difference between a random number that's associated, a random generated number that can be associated with someone's child versus the first and last initial and the classroom associated with the child versus the full child's first name and last name. And ethnicity and other things. Like there's a gradient in terms of what can be provided. And I think it is our responsibility to limit what we share. Um, as an adjacent data science person, I'm going to collect as much data as I'm allowed to. And I'm going to put on a form for somebody to fill out as much information as they're willing to give. I think our district should be just limited in what we are willing to share. And I do agree that I do recognize that these partners can help us analyze and understand how learning is happening in our district, where our strengths are, where our growth opportunities are. And so there will be a balance between us getting the clarity we would like, and them receiving the data that they want. Uh, and I also think these companies probably know that they have a strong hand because they can provide analyzed data to districts. And so they're probably not even willing necessarily to design their software and program to make it more complicated for them, but they could. They definitely could. So I don't want to restrict what we are able to learn from working with our partners and what our teachers are able to gain when they receive the data back and they're trying to understand it. Um, and I definitely want to um, draft that data breach letter up front and uh, put as say the exposure has been very minimal um, in terms of what we may need to share back with others. So my request is that I think similar to what Mr. Wilcox said, that if it is the board's and district's um, preference to limit exposure to certain areas, that we make that known to these vendors and have them really justify what data they need in what particular format, and then the district can decide, like, yes, we can do that, or here's what we can do.
Okay, so it sounds like we want to carry this over to another meeting, and I will reach out sometime in the next couple of days to you, Dr. Yarbrough, just to make sure I'm understanding. I'm going to take another look at this and see if I can suggest some language that might help with that, and then we can then talk to the others in the district about how to move forward. Ms. Red Hannons?
So good afternoon. We're actually in a process of putting together some agreements to come before the board next F&O meeting. And the de-identifiable data standpoint is creating, it is creating some issues for us. And these are some of our universal screeners, things that we need for day one of school are intervention programs. And I'm flagging it because I don't think we're going to solve this issue based on this conversation, right? Whether it is through a ad hoc committee or something else that we need to maybe go a little deeper in and talk about the usage. But I know these agreements are going to come before this committee at the next meeting. And so if there's any guidance, and maybe you don't have any right now for me to complete these agreements because they are very time sensitive, I would appreciate it because we definitely need to make sure our assessments are ready to go in our intervention programs at the start of the year. And I hear the concern, right? Great conversation that we're having. I'm just not sure. And even if our system, even if we receive the information back with de-identifiable information on kids, how that translates into our system so that we have data that we can quickly analyze through our DataWise meetings on our Decision Ed platform. So I have a lot of questions on what we can handle from our end, not even just the company's end, on some of the requests, but I do understand the sensitivity of the information and recognizing that data breaches are happening daily all across the world. So I'm not sure how we proceed, but I do know what's coming.
Dr. Yarbrough?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Red Hannons. My suggestion as a committee member on this committee is that you bring forward what you have. I recognize that this particular topic is a work in progress, and it is also uh, it it may require a lot in terms of um, increasing the stringency, so to speak, on student data. Um, and that's not going to, I know that's not going to happen today, and I accept that's not going to happen today. I do desire for the district to move in that direction. And I think there may be other committee members who might have more and better insight in that. And so my recommendation is to bring forward what you have and to feel very free to remind me of uh, of this conversation and my recommendation to bring it forward.
Thank you.
My suggestion would be definitely that, and then to just remind, and not just in this case, but across the board, that the cover memo is your friend. I imagine if you're filling it out, the cover memos are a chore, but they do try to provide a place to put a lot of this information. So for instance, in the brief description of services section, might be a place to just address that this is the information that is going to be shared with the vendor. This is the data. These are the data fields. So just something like that might be a place just to put it out there and then justify what it is based on the business needs or the academic needs of the district. So, and if the cover memo doesn't meet the purpose, an additional memo just on top that explains it. And I would just expect that until this is worked out, data sharing things are going to be scrutinized, just like other things are. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, hearing nothing else on this, we are at the end of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, moved by Ms. Downer, seconded by President Yarbrough. Thank you for that. We will vote. Ms. Downer?
Yes.
President Yarbrough?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.
Thank you.